According to reports, a senior Iranian Revolutionary Guards commander was killed in a strike near Iraq-Syria border. The commander is yet to be identified, but reports said that he was killed alongside 3 other men who were traveling with him in the same vehicle. It is believed that the strike happened last week. The vehicle was carrying weapons across the Iraqi border and was hit after it had entered Syrian territory. Reports also added that Iran-backed Iraqi paramilitary groups helped retrieve the bodies. The incident is likely to further escalate tensions in West Asia. It comes just days after Iranian nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was assassinated in Tehran in an attack that Iran has blamed on Israel. Recently, Israel launched air raids against what it called a wide range of Syrian and Iranian targets in Syria, signaling that it will pursue its policy of striking Iranian targets in the region as US President Donald Trump prepares to leave office. Iran and the militias that it has been backing are still reeling from the assassination of top Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani earlier this year. And for more on this, we are being joined by Syed Mustafa, a political analyst and editor of Iran's Far News Agency from Tehran. Thank you so much for joining us. Could you begin by telling us about this incident?
Well, thanks for having me. As a matter of fact, the report was denied and rejected outright, as it appeared last night. It was first, rejected by the Arab media in Iraq and then some regional outlets, and now the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman just a few minutes ago, he also dismissed the report as baseless. This is not the first time it happens. It's such reports have been appearing in the media, mainly by the Israeli outlets or by their allied Saudi media. In their English versions, they start hues and cries about an attack on Iranian IRGC commanders. But in most cases, they have proved to be just a media ballyhoo, for psychological operations. So therefore, what we know now from various sources in Iraq, in Iran, and elsewhere, this has not been a true report.
All right. Okay, from that then, of course, this would have been the latest in escalation after top Iranian nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh's assassination. How do you assess this?
Well, the Israelis are very apparently trying to escalate the tensions. They are trying to, raise tensions between Iran and Israel for specific purposes. Some believe that they intend to prevent any kind of talks between Iran and the United States under the Biden administration. But given the fact that this is not the first time, and we have been experiencing all similar incidents throughout the past decade, especially when they assassinated 5 Iranian nuclear scientists around 10 years ago, we know that this is part of the Israeli and Americans' hybrid war and pressure against Tehran in order to concede to the U.S. terms in any kind of future talks. As you know, the Iranians have stressed that they would be waiting for the U.S. to rejoin the nuclear accord, removing all the sanctions they have imposed on Iran after their withdrawal from the JCPOA, and they need to pay reparations, and they need to do, make up for the past. But the Biden administration has stressed that he wants completely different things. He has asked for more concessions from Iran with regard to its missile program and regional program. Therefore, there is a willpower between the two sides. And such pressures are exerted on concede to the Biden terms.
All right. Also, what can we expect going forward? How do you see the situation unfolding? Because as you of course know, after Mohsen Fakhrizadeh's assassination, Iran has publicly vowed revenge. So how do you see the situation panning out?
Well, definitely Tehran will respond to the assassination of its top scientist But Tehran's response will come in two different ways. One is the direct response, which will be given to the Israelis, because all clues are now showing that the Israelis, as well as the terrorist Mujahideen organization that are responsible for the death of 17,000 Iranian civilians and officials, they've been hired by the Israelis since long time ago for the plots to assassinate Iranians. These plots are masterminded and supported and trained by the Israelis, sometimes assisted by Americans. So Tehran has vowed to take revenge, and I believe the revenge could be in the offing, but Tehran wants it to happen through a surprise attack, and we don't know the time, the place, and how it will happen, but we are sure now, especially since last night, that this is going to happen. But when, we don't know. The second type of answer would be in area of nuclear science. As a matter of fact, assassinated Fakhrizadeh in order to undermine Iran's nuclear industry and power. So Iran is now providing responses in the same field. First, they are increasing their nuclear capability in various areas, like bringing into operation the new generation of centrifuge machines. Also, they want to reinstall the older version of Iraq heavy water reactor. Also, they just today at the parliament, they approved a plan that would limit the IAEA's access to Iranian sites under the additional protocol to the NPT that was valid under the nuclear deal. Iran is still in compliance, but on a voluntary basis. Now, the Iranian parliamentarians want limited access under the additional protocol, though the IAEA would have its access to Iranian nuclear sites based on the NPT and additional protocol. But this access would be limited and confined and restricted because Iran is not receiving any kind of merit under the deal. And the Iranian officials and people are questioning, why should they be cooperating more than any other country in the world with the IAEA when their nuclear scientists, civilian nuclear scientists, are assassinated by the Israeli and Americans. And there are other measures and funding going to the Iranian nuclear industry. This is the strategic response Iran is giving to this incident, in addition to the direct military response that they have promised.
All right, Saad Mustafa, thank you so much for joining us with all those details.